A tutorial on how to comp up this property over in Greenville, and I'm using some resources that I'm not super familiar with. So Austin sent me this property, 25 Shamrock Circle, and so the first thing I do is I want to look at it on Street View if possible, right? I want to check it out. I want to see what it looks like. Let's see what we got here. Cute little house. Sometimes you can tell a lot by the kind of cars people drive and how well they're maintained. And, I'm looking at this house. It has a ridge vent. You can see the ridge vent through the trees there. So that means the roof's in pretty good shape. And the windows, I can't tell if the windows are new, but they seem to be good. And the house seems to be well maintained. Could use a little landscaping love, but that's one of the things I'm looking at. Then the next thing I want to look at is I want to see the neighborhood. What's going on with the rest of the neighborhood? Is this a neighborhood that is safe? What's the deal going on with the neighborhood? And it's fine, cute. Just older neighborhood. These houses have probably been here since the 50s, and so I'm just doing a little bit of drive-by on Google, and certainly this is an area that we would definitely invest in and buy houses in. So there's where I start. Okay, so that's the 25 Shamrock Circle. Then I'm going to go over to Zillow, and I already pulled it up, and I'm going to look at this estimate, kind of give it some credence, see what that's all about. The square footage is important. I don't know if it's accurate, but it certainly looks like it's about 1,100 square feet. So no reason to discount that necessarily. I'm going to go down here, and I'm just going to kind of investigate the ranges of this estimate, the 1-year forecast, the neighborhood. It's kind of a neutral neighborhood, not too hot, not too cold. Basically a neutral market is one where it takes houses, anywhere between 3 and 6 months to sell. This one's leaning ever so slightly towards a seller's market. Walk score, that means it's close to stuff. Okay, it shows a little, let's see, does it show where it is right there, maybe? And then from there, I'm looking for taxes. It's sold in 2012 for $51,500. Okay, great. That's good to know. And it was from the county assessor. So if you click on this, it should take you to, the Greenville County real property search, and you can use that to some degree. This is pretty limiting. I'm going to use the GIS map here in a second. Okay, so then what I want to do is I want to go over to Redfin, and we're going to go back. Let's go back to our little map here. I pulled up 29611, and I'll just tell you kind of how I got here. I pulled up 29611 so I can see the county, and then I used my Google sheet, my map here on Google, to kind of figure out where this was. And then once I figured out where it was, then I went over to Redfin and I tried to sync it up with my Google map. Okay, so it's this little area right in here. That takes 5 to 7 minutes. A little lake over here. It's kind of cool. And so we don't have a lot of information. Let me see, where do I start here? Let me go back to our Google map. Based on our cash buyer page, we know that a lot of the activity in this part of the zip code happens inside of Whitehorse Road towards Greenville, right? So this is kind of like a boundary limit. Now there are some things going on down through here, over in here. There are some things going on west of Whitehorse, not a ton. And as you can see, there's not a ton here either. But we've got comps at 129, 85, 137 in the same neighborhood, and you've got some neighborhood stuff over here. So then what we can do is we can click on these and take a look at it. All right, that's a pretty house. Thumb through the pictures, nice 2-car garage. Looks like I love that design on that house. Nothing great. Original kitchen. Now sold for 137. Then you have this one here for 85. Doesn't have a picture. That is an indicator that potentially that sold to an investor, and that's what we're going to investigate here. That's 42 Shamrock Circle. And then I'm going to go over one street over here and look at this 3.2.5 or 3.1.5 ranch. It's cute too, updated, new appliances, looks like an updated kitchen, or at least painted. This house is pretty well maintained. And that one sold for $129 back just a couple days ago, in fact. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm curious about this one, because as a wholesaler or a potential house flipper, we want to know what the investors are paying. We obviously want to know what the market will bear for the house when it's all fixed up, and that's a good number to know. But then we also have to know where we have to get our offer, under what number. So this 42 Shamrock Circle is interesting. If I click on it, it does have a street view. Let me run down here, and let's see if we can find when it's sold. It says it sold at the public records for $84,800 April 9th, 2018. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Greenville. Hold on. There we go. All right, we're going to go into this Greenville Register of Deeds. But first, we have to figure out who the owner of the property is. This is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, booking page. And to get this information, I'm going to go over to the GIS map. So here's the Greenville GIS map. I opened it up, and if you look, you can actually search for the address. You just hit search and search. Let's see, find address, and then I put in 42 Shamrock Circle, and it auto-populated. There it is. All right, I'll close that out, and there you have it. And then you're going to click on this identify button, and what that's going to do is when you click on this, it's going to give you some stuff over here. Pretty cool, right? Now, if you're in a different market, you're going to have these kind of tools available in your market. You just have to figure them out and know what is available to you. All right, so in Greenville, though, now we know the owner. We know that it's this John W. Rogers and Jennifer Rogers. And so if we wanted to, you can click on all of this stuff. You can click on community info, and that's going to pull up, information there. The bummer is I don't know if I can go back. Identify. Well, I think I lost my window of opportunity there. Let me close that out. Let me search for the address again. Search. Let me bring this card back up. 42 Shamrock. Okay. Now I'm going to click on the identity button again, and then I'm going to click that. All right, so here's where we are. We've got John W. Rogers. And so what we want to know is we want to search the mortgage documents and the deeds records based on that guy. So we're going to go here. I'm going to put it in. There we go. It auto-populates with the last name. If I copied and pasted it right then, I'm going to click search. And hopefully we're going to get some good stuff back. All right, here we go. This is it here. 26 Shamrock Acres. Let's see. Mortgage release. So now I'm looking through these documents. I'm looking through April mortgage deed. I'm thinking that this guy did a refi. And see, so Redfin is showing as a sale, but let's find out. I bet you that's what happened here. Yeah, Quicken Loans, the guy did a refi. Did maybe a cash out refi for $85,000. And so so that is what it's reading. And there should be more pages. Yeah, okay. 83,000. Looks like, yep, that's it. He refied and Redfin is showing it as a sale. So that's where you have to be careful with Redfin sometimes. All right. Now, what we want to do is we can go over to our GIS map, certainly, and we can start, let me pull that back down here. We can start doing some research here. Like this said the sales price was 84.8 and the fair market value. So the county has a fair market value there. Let's just go to the next one over. You know, that market value is 93,480. Let's see if it gives you a last date of sale. The deed date was 1962. Okay, so we're not getting a lot of help from recent sales here. And I wish there was a solution where we can go in and look at a list of houses and what they sold for. But until we get access to the MLS, that's going to be very difficult. Deed date. So here you go. There's a deed date right here. And it looks like they sold this one for $134,900 when it was on the market. Now, we can find this information back here on Redfin too. If we wanted to go back into our filters and instead of looking back 6 months, we can look back 12 months and see last 1 year. All right, great. We got some more stuff popping up. This is good. All right, here's one that sold for 51,000 and it says it sold in January. Now the question is, was that 25 County Cork Drive, was that another refi or did that actually sell for that price? And then here's another one for 79.5. Did that one actually sell or was it some sort of refinance? And that's what you have to dig out. You have to know if it's a sale or not. So let's just chase it down. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna close this out. Let's go for the one on 25 County Cork Road because it's in the, is that right? Yeah, it's in the same neighborhood, I think, right? Is that right? Yeah, Shamrock Circle is there. Same neighborhood, 51 County Cork Road. Let's go back to our GIS map. All right, and we're gonna close this out and we're gonna search, find address, and I'm gonna go 25 County Cork Road. There it is. I'm gonna zoom in on it. It's got the yellow flag on it. Then I'm gonna hit the identify button. I'm gonna hit that and it is an LLC. So an investor, right? Purchased that property from Timothy Hopkins. Let's see if there's a sale date in here. Sale price $10. I'm not sure about that. So we're gonna go, now we gotta go back into the county records again and we are gonna search for this Sunego Services LLC. Actually, you know what we might do is, let's look for this Hopkins Timothy L. He was the seller. Let's see what the story is. So I'm gonna go back to the Register of Deeds, back to criteria. We're gonna pop this guy's name in here now. And now I'm gonna search. You gotta be a private investigator. Okay. All right, now, we're trying to make sense of this. And the legal description, here we go, this is Shamrock Acres. There's a little plus button there, so I'm gonna click on that, and it gives you the legal description. And, you know, his name, Timothy Lee Hopkins, this may or may not be him, but we're focused on this thing that happened in January, right? So it says, it says there was a quitclaim deed January 23rd, 2018, but there's a mortgage here. So, you know, now we're trying to piece together what in the world is happening. So let me look at this. All right, he paid $10 for the house. So this is what happened. It looks like Timothy Hopkins and Jan Hopkins, this is my opinion, are investors, and they moved the title of the property into an LLC to protect themselves. That's what it looks like to me. So what they did is, let me go back to the results. They got a, looks like they got a mortgage and a deed. So let me look at this mortgage. So they got a mortgage and it says that here they are as the borrower, and it was SunTrust Mortgage. So they got the name of the loan in their names, but I don't see anything about the LLC. So they must have put some money down because their mortgage is for $43,000. They paid $52,000 for the house, right? So you're starting to see this piece together. They basically, let me go back to the results. What makes sense to me is that they got a mortgage on this property, and then 4 days later, they quit claimed the property over to the LLC so they could have some protection. All right, the good news about that is we think, for the most part, that Timothy Hopkins and his wife, they own this LLC, we think, and I'm sure they do. We could go check it out on the Superior Court website if we wanted to, but I'm assuming they own this LLC. They bought this property for $52,000 and then quit claimed it into their LLC. What does that mean? That means that it's an investor, and an investor will pay $52,000 for a house there. Now, we don't know what shape the house was in because it wasn't on the MLS or anything like that. So we have no idea. It could have been a complete disaster. And you certainly could go punching into Google and go, what was that? 25 County Cork Road, right? County Cork Road Drive. And let's take a look at the Street View version of that. And the Street View, this is from 2012, so you can't tell a lot, but looks good in 2012. So 6 years later, is it possible that this house could have fallen in repair or into foreclosure or whatever, right? It's very, very possible. If I could, I wish there was a way. Let's look at this property report real fast in the Greenville GIS map. Okay, so here it is. Legal description, fair market value. Here we go. So at one time, they don't put the date of last sale. I don't know what this means. I can't make heads or tail out of this. It says date of last sale, but it's got all these gobbledygook numbers here. But we know that this Daniel guy paid $50,000 for it. I can't tell how this date works. And then it looks like Tim and Lisa Jones paid $64,000. I really don't understand where Redfin gets the last sold price at $51,000. It doesn't matter, but we have a pretty good idea. All right, now let's go back to our comps. So we think that an investor would have paid $51,000. Here's one for $85,000 again. This was a refi. We figured that out, right? And then we have a couple houses that look like they might have been on the MLS. This one sold in February, and you can thumb through it. Snowed a little bit. Now this is a total renovation. You can see as I thumb through the pictures, this is our total rehab. That sold for $130,000. Okay, and this one in the back of the neighborhood sold for $137,000 in July. So February, $130,000, July, $137,000, and this one here is not updated. Pretty plain Jane, right, as you go through the pictures. Okay. All right, so we feel good that we understand the investor comps. We feel good that we understand the aftermarket value comps. And so now that I feel good that, if this is a complete disaster, we would have to get this house around $50,000. And then if it's kind of a turnkey house, it's been well maintained, if we could get it for $85,000, $90,000, we could close on that one or wholesale it. But we could wholesale it by putting it on the MLS and having a pretty decent return on that. Okay, now what other tools do we have available? Let's just kind of look at Realtor.com real fast, and let's punch in. What was the address of our property? 42 Shamrock, or 25 Shamrock Circle. That's the one. So Realtor.com. Our subject property is 25 Shamrock Circle, Greenville, South Carolina. And let's do a search on that one. And you're going to get another. There it is. The neighborhood median price is not 265. They're not basing that on the neighborhood. They're basing it on something else. And I like, here's one that's on the market for 85. We could take a peek at that one. This is 85, guys. I mean, this is a mess, right? Complete. Now, hasn't sold. May not sell. That might be overpriced. Kind of looks like it is to me. Okay, so go hit the back button here. And what other tools does it give us? Property history. That's just a tax assessment. Nearby homes. I like that one because it'll give you, it just kind of shows it in a grid view. Same information, just shows it a little bit differently. And then popular homes, those are the ones that people are typically searching for. So this price range seems to be fairly hot. And you can certainly go through here and see all of those. Okay, so after all that research, Redfin was my biggest friend on this. We found that this one for $51,000 sold back in whenever it sold, April or January, I can't remember. And it was an investor. He paid around $50,000 for it. Now, one more thing we could do is, I don't like doing this. I like just staying with 6 months worth of comps. But if we wanted to, we could go back and look at the last 2 years, okay, and see if our pricing holds up. So in here now, here's one that popped up for 83. It looks like it was on the MLS, and it was a fixer. Original cabinets, you know, just seems to need some updates. And that one sold for $85,000. And you can zoom in on these, and you can see if you zoom in a little closer on Redfin, you can see kind of what the Redfin estimates are. I'm curious about this one for 165. I don't know if I can get it to come up. There we go. That's a Redfin estimate, not for sale. It's got pictures though, which is interesting. So this could have been a for sale by owner. It could be a make me move on Zillow. Who knows where they're getting their data on this one. But that's pretty high compared to the neighborhood. All right, so investors are paying $50,000 to $85,000. We would need to get that house, depending on what it needed, somewhere between that 50 and 85. If it was pretty much turnkey, you might be able to pay a little bit more if it didn't need hardly anything. Let's say it needed less than 5 to 10 grand worth of stuff, then you can go in and do there. So I know this is a super long tutorial. I hope it helped you get inside my brain and figure things out. So let me just go over the tools and review. I used Redfin, I used Realtor.com, I used Zillow, I used the Greenville County Register of Deeds. We have a username and password for that, by the way. I used Google Maps to do Street View. I used the Greenville County GIS to find who the owner is. And then I use the property report. Now, if you wanted to go in and now find, let's just say we wanted to see, let me just try what do these tabs do. Ownership history, it didn't give me much there, did it? Okay. Let me do assessment history. Okay, see what this is. These are the taxes that were paid. 2016, 2015, 2014. Okay, so you're seeing the taxes. Actually, the taxes went down. That's interesting. From 1898 to, okay, yeah, went down a little bit. Let's see. The property card, that's that thing that was sideways, kind of shows the property owners. It's kind of like a library card is what it reminds me of. The property report, we saw that, and you can save that. This is what I would, if I'm a Tiffany or a lead manager, I'm going to open up this property report, and I'm going to print this out as a PDF, convert to PDF right there. Just click the button. It'll save it as a PDF or download it, and then you upload that to the seller record in our CRM. And that way, you get a lot of really good data here. Okay, so that would be a good thing to put in there. All right, I hope this is helpful. Let me know if y'all have any questions, okay? Sorry for how long this was.